To beat the coronavirus, everyone should wear a mask. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Chris Martenson, and I'm here to tell you how we're going to beat this coronavirus. I've been reporting on this coronavirus for 70 days. I have a PhD in pathology from Duke University, and I want to take you through the logic of why everyone should wear a face mask. It begins here with all these things that we can do, that we need to do to beat this particular virus. It begins here, but this is one of the most important steps right here. Face masks for everyone. Now, why is that? Well, here's what we know. We know that this particular virus, it spreads really quickly and easily from both symptomatic and asymptomatic people. So let's imagine this woman here. She's got a perfectly normal temperature, but she can have the virus and be communicating it. And here's how you get this virus. Somebody who's infected gets a particle outside of their body, and that goes into your body. And we know that very large infectious droplets fall out of the air very quickly. Smaller ones travel much further, but really tiny infectious droplet nuclei, they travel really far. And so these can form, and they are super small, so they just blow around in the air. I'm going to show you a little bit about that. It's not just that somebody who's sneezing or coughing is passing this to other people. So how do we beat this thing? Very simple solution to a very complex problem. Everybody wears a mask. Here's the logic behind that. Reason one, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why everyone should wear a mask is, number one, is it stops infected people from expelling infectious particles. Remember these things up here? We want to keep those particles not out in the air. We want to keep them inside our mask. So let's look at the difference here. In this GIF right here, we're seeing somebody who's sneezing just into the air. Look at all those particles flying. And then, yes, there is still stuff sneaking around the edges here, but look how much material got caught in the mask material itself. Here's another great piece of research that came out very recently. This shows the tiny particles that are being spread around when people are just talking. You see big particles falling out. You see little ones floating around. Every one of these is a particle that could be carrying infectious disease particles, viruses in there that could make you sick. So reason number one, everyone wears a mask is so that the people who are sick are not spreading infected droplets all over the place. Reason number two that everyone wears a mask is it helps remind you not to touch the insides of your mouth or your nose. So what we need to know is that I hate this saying, don't touch your face, because you know why? Because the virus doesn't come in through your face. It comes in through your mouth, and it comes in through your nose. And it's also possible it can come in through the eyes. But a mask, at least if you're wearing a mask that covers up this part right here, you are not breathing those particles in to the places in your upper nose where the virus can bind, or down in your lungs where the virus can also bind and begin replicating. So that is reason number two. It helps to remind you not to touch the insides of your mouth or your nose. In fact, it will physically prevent you. That's what a mask will do, prevent you from touching the inside of your mouth and your nose. What's reason number three? Reason number three, really, really important. Look, if somehow these little particles get out, and if you get one of those little particles inside your mask, you will still get ill potentially. But if you are infected anyway, you have a much, much better chance of starting small. That is with a low inoculum, and that gives you a much better disease outcome. Here's an opinion piece in the New York Times by a couple of doctors here, and I love what they said. They say here both large and small and large amounts of virus can replicate within our cells, cause severe disease in vulnerable individuals, such as the immunocompromised. In healthy people, however, immune systems respond as soon as they sense a virus growing inside. Recovery depends on which wins the race, viral spread or immune activation. Virus experts know that viral dose affects the illness severity. Viral dose. So, in the lab, mice receiving a low dose of virus clear it and recover, while the same virus at a higher dose kills them. Dose sensitivity has been observed for every common acute viral infection that has been studied in lab animals, including coronaviruses. So that's reason number three. It gives you better odds of a lesser illness. If you do get a tiny virus particle through your mask, it will come in, but it'll be tiny. It'll be a small dose. That increases your odds. So the 3 reasons everyone wears a mask: it stops the infected people from spreading it around. It helps prevent you from touching your mouth and your nose in particular. And if you do get infected anyway, much better odds that you're starting small with a low inoculum, and that gives you a better disease outcome, a better chance of fighting it off. I want you to tune out all sorts of illogical articles out there that say things like this, which is, well, you know, even masks that fit well against the face will not prevent inhalation of small particles. So this is saying it's not perfect. Never let perfect become the enemy of the good enough. This person is making the argument that homemade masks is all worrying because there's some evidence that fabric masks can increase your risk of infection, but they're quoting clinical studies where nurses and doctors were around super infected people wearing homemade masks. That's not what we're talking about. All right, how do we beat this thing? Everybody wears a mask. It prevents the spread. It reminds us not to touch our mouth and our nose, and it gives you a better odds of a lesser illness. So, what sorts of masks? Hey, all kinds of masks, just not the ones with the little valves on them. We don't want those because those allow infected things to pass out of our mouths really easily in our nose. So any of these, totally good. But you know what else is good and better than nothing? Because we need these right now for the medical frontline healthcare providers. Don't get these. Let's leave these right now. Later, when supplies come back and they're ample for everyone, these are the best. But what do we do until then? Wonderful cottage industry of people making their own homegrown sewn mask, home sewn mask here with an insert of a HEPA filter. I bet this thing's doing a really good job. But you know what? It's doing a whole lot better than nothing. Remember people sneezing that stuff all out? And by the way, you can find these face masks and all over the place. People are making them, donating them. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing that's happening here. So this is how we beat this thing. We join together, we create face masks, and we always, always, always wear a mask in public, whether we think we're healthy or not, or don't know, or we're sick. Any reason at all, when everybody's wearing a face mask, we will beat this thing. Thank you for listening.